Hi guys, tonight I'm going to be covering how to make a scroll stopping product review template in your Canva account. So we have here our volunteer for this week, which is Sharon from Totally Balmy. And if we come over, and I use Instagram posts now instead of social media like in my earlier tutorials because it just gives you the flexibility to post it at a higher quality, a higher resolution across more than just Facebook. Okay, so I found this honeycomb picture when I was on Pixels, I think. And when you drag a picture all the way over like that, it snaps it to the background quite nicely. Now, this part of the picture was quite large, like the circle's really large and it's quite dark, a lot of contrast, and I found it was just quite distracting. So if you pull it down like this and use one that's more of a texture, a little bit less contrast, just a bit nicer to look at. And then a filter. Now because the yellow in here is already quite strong, I didn't want to go too far with the filter, which I think might have been summer. Yep. Summer's quite good for enriching summer colors, like yellows and grasses and sunsets and those sorts of things. Now I've just dialed back the intensity because it's just, it way oversaturates it up there. So if we bring it down just enough that it makes the yellow stand out a bit more. Okay, now I need a hexagon, which I am grabbing because there is a central visual image for Totally Balmy. In her logo, she has these hexagons. So just make sure that it's centered there. Cool. Now, it's not centered like this. I've got it down a bit because we're going to have that circle here and we need to leave room for it. Okay, make it white, turn down this just so you see a little bit coming through from behind. It just sort of softens it a bit. And when I typed in hexagon, it conveniently brought up the other thing that I need here, which is a frame or a border. Bring that up. Wait, yep, snaps into place. I want it to be a little bit bigger than the hexagon underneath it. Okay, now I make that yellow, and you can see we're already halfway there. Teardrop photo holder. There's heaps of different shaped photo holders. This particular one, there we go. I was looking at this one, I gave that one a try first, but because, I'll just show you. Because here you've got, imagine the photo going like this. So I'll just demonstrate it. It cuts it off a little funny and it doesn't sit quite as nicely, but it could just be my OCD, I don't know, but it freaked me out a bit. So I was like, all right, no, we'll get rid of that one and we'll stick with this nice circle right here. Bring in this. The grey I used was just one of the preset greys. And while that does look nice, I do feel like it looks nicer if you just come in nice and close on the crop there. You can see more of the texture and the shape of the soap that way. Just sits good. Now, I have tried to get equal distance here between the bottom of the photo holder, the bottom of the frame border, and the photo holder up here. So that's about right. And now we're up for the text. And I have that saved over here, ready to go. Drag it across. Now I'm not 100% sure what size I had it. 34, okay. And now the tricky part when you're doing these things is getting the text to sit just right. Not made that quite big enough. It's alright. And the grey for this as well is this grey. That's where I got wrong. I had it up here, I hadn't gotten rid of the text that was in the box. Okay, we're good. Little things can throw me. Alright, I go here. better. There we go. Now I did that on purpose, so I've got it sitting, shrink that a little bit, got it sitting so that the shape of the text follows the shape of the shape that it's in. I do that with most things. I like to have the shapes curved. I like, if it's in a circle, for it to sort of curve with a circle. Sometimes that means that you're going to be coming in here and pushing enter on things to get them to go down to the next line, or changing your sizing just a little bit. But that's really a make or break when it comes to designing text, is getting it to just sit really nicely and not too close to the edge. When it touches the edge, it just doesn't quite look as nice, and it's harder to read. So the next part, same font I'm using here is Roboto Condensed. And oops, there we go. For Janet McDonald, the product reviewer. Here we go. And I changed it to the same yellow as the border. Clicked bold. It was already all caps because I've copied it in that way. But feel free to click all caps like I have here in the original. That's 42. So I come over to 42, lined up. Now, my least favorite part of Canva is lines, because up here you've got your basic line, which I'll just change to grey now. But it is quite an awkward thing to work with when you want to get it just the right thickness, and then you've got to stretch it back out again. So I'll just try to get it to see how it kind of just nope, I'm going to have to zoom in. There we go. Now it's allowing me to stretch it out. And I like the lines to be nice and thin, which means I need to zoom in further. Ah, there we go. Pop that. Oh, sorry. I don't have that underneath. Thank you. And bring it back in. Oops. If you grab the wrong thing, you can Control Z like you do in other programs, and it will just take it back again. I quite often have my hand on the keyboard hovering above Control Z when I'm doing things. Copy the person's name. Come over to website. And something I always do when I'm designing a graphic is I make sure that there is plenty of spacing. So if you come up here and click spacing, the letter spacing, it just makes it a lot easier for someone to see, because websites are typically going to be smaller, like put on a graphic. They're going to be sort of there so you can see them, and you've got to make them as readable as possible given the size they're going to be without making them too distracting. So I do that with letter spacing. And just like that. And once you have a template, you can use whichever background fits the theme of your brand, and then again, whichever shape. And usually wherever you find a shape, you're going to be able to find a frame to go with it, and any photo holder that's going to fit in with that. So at this point, whenever Sharon would like to do a new one, all she has to do is upload a new photo, drag it in, and copy and paste from Facebook or from her website or from wherever to say, you know, what it is, shape the text, and done. It is so much easier than always having to create something new if you have a whole bunch of templates ready to go in your account. So that's it for this week. If you have any requests, please pop them in the comments below, and otherwise I will see you next week.